All right, we're going to get started this morning. Welcome, everybody. If it's your first time at 1 Million Cups, we're really glad to have you, and we're really excited to have Lauren and Israel talking about Chins Up Foundation today. So before we get started, we want to say thank you to our sponsors. We've got Field 59 right over there doing the live recording. If you ever can't make 1 Million Cups, you can go to our website and you can visit the link to the live stream, and then you can also see videos of our past presenters there. We also have the coffee provided by 100 State. It's from Crescendo. It's delicious. I realized that they sent us decaf today, so that's a change in our typical. We do have one regular, but just be aware that the one on the right is decaf, and maybe that'll open up some coffee doors to some of you that previously wouldn't drink it. We're also thankful for the library for providing this space for us to use. It's pretty cool, especially on a day like today when you get the sunshine coming in. We're going to do some quick introductions. My name's Rachel Neal. I'm with Nordic. I'm one of the organizers from 1 Million Cups. And since we don't have a mic, I'm just going to point.
All right, I'm Steve Cladd, co-founder of 32 Auctions, which is a platform for hosting and managing online silent auctions.
I'll go. I'm Kurt Peterson, the other co-founder of 32 Auctions.
Ron Dobbins, director of Wisconsin Angel Network.
I'm Brooke Weiland. I'm a scientific illustrator.
Juan Gomez with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation.
Joe Hudson, retail consultant.
Drew Corson, I'm one of the organizers with Million Cups and a business attorney that specializes in securities law.
Laura Chontos, program coordinator with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Ruth Rolick, the business development specialist for the city of Madison.
I'm Leangelo Lane. I'm an intern at the Economic Development Division.
I'm Catherine Garcia. I'm with Field 59, which is a video platform for premium content creators.
I'm Jeremy Udovich. I'm with Heiko Solutions. We're an offshore software development, IoT development, and data science consulting firm.
And I'm John Ma. I'm a developer and founder of DailyNibbler.com.
Who I think is going to be presenting soon.
Maybe. Hope we'll see. Maybe. First time here, so just checking it out and possibly presenting later.
So. Awesome. Great. So we've got our introduction, so why don't you guys kick us off?
All right. I'm Israel Lopez. I'm the founder of the Chins Up Foundation, co-creator of the Chins Up Exchange software.
Hi, I'm Lauren Parrish. I'm the program coordinator for the Chins Up Foundation. My role is to facilitate the letter exchange program between the elementary students and the collegiate athletes. And so what we have for you today is we're going to be just giving you a stronger understanding of our software, where we've been and where we're going to be taking our software, as well as giving you a deeper insight as to what it was like to work in the classrooms with the students. And so what we have for you first here today is a sneak peek into our testimonial video, and this is the testimonial videos for the students that we worked with this past fall between Lincoln Elementary and Edgewood College.
So this hasn't been released yet to the public, so we figured this would be a good venue to do it, and it also gives a good intro to who we are, what we're doing, so we can focus on the new direction that we're taking with the Chins Up Exchange.
Thank you for your interest in the Chins Up Foundation. Our organization has developed software that matches collegiate athletes with kids in the letter exchange program, utilizing that collegiate athlete platform to mentor at-risk and underprivileged youth. The idea for the Chins Up Foundation came from the experience that I had as a kid with a former Badger football player named Janelle Thompson. When I was 10 years old, he sent me a letter and a picture in the mail that changed my life. After receiving that picture, I went through some difficulties as a teenager. I was homeless at 15 years old. I subsequently went on to college, played football, and now I'm an attorney. And I thank Janelle Thompson for that picture because it played a huge role in where I am today. Along with mentoring the kids, the Chins Up Exchange program and the software is an educational tool. We're teaching the kids how to write letters, teaching them reading comprehension, and we're teaching them how to effectively communicate via email, all while sharing letters with collegiate athletes. It's powerful for the kids, and it's needed.
I thought it was really rewarding getting out in the community, especially because I'm not from around here. So seeing a different background of people from where they're coming from, kids coming from different schools, and just getting to connect with kids who look up to you. Well, I liked it a lot because I felt like I was giving the kids a chance to, talk to someone else, get someone from my point of view, and try to help them.
My kids' mentor taught me that you can't do things like being a lawyer, being a doctor without having a college degree. When I was writing back to my mentor, it was fun because I got to talk to him on the computer and got to see what he was doing. Kids have taught me that you have to believe in yourself and don't just give up on yourself. Keep on trying and trying until you get there.
Without a good support system or someone there who's showing them the way, it's going to be tough for them to know what to do or know how to handle situations where when you have a mentor or a leader showing you what to do or how to do it, it makes it so much easier.
Meaningful connections using technology are really hard to find in schools that are easy to use and fit the curriculum. I think Chins Up does a really great job of integrating all of those things.
Because it's not only teaching those skills of letter writing and writing in general, getting thoughts out, but it's also interconnected writing. So you're writing to other people, listening to other people have to say, and then voicing yourself.
I think that Chins Up is worth investing in because of all the amazing changes that I've seen in my students and how excited they were each time that we got to write a letter, how much they learned academically and how much they grew within themselves. So the biggest advertisement for me for this program and the reason why people should do it is because in my classroom it made a difference for kids.
Throughout the beta test season, I came to Lincoln Elementary every Monday and helped the kids write their letters. I worked with one specific kid just about every week. Week one, it took 45 minutes to get 3 or 4 sentences and a closing. By the end of our beta test, he was writing a couple paragraphs by himself. Now that's an impact. That's the impact that we're trying to make in classrooms across the country. We're on the cusp. We're this close. But
Okay, I'm going to end it right there. You guys don't need to hear the call of action, so I'll give it in person at the end of this presentation. So as you can see, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We develop software utilizing the mentoring platform, specifically utilizing collegiate student athletes, to motivate kids to participate in the educational tool that we have developed and are continuously developing. Throughout our beta test, we learned a lot. Those of you who are in the software world know that it's ongoing. You test it, you got to get the data, get the results, and then figure out what changes to implement. So we're in that stage right now. Beta test went very successful. We worked with the Wisconsin Teacher of the Year, Josie Guy, in 2014. She was great, but there are things that we found that need to be changed. So Lauren is going to talk about the next phase of our development, which actually began this week. And after she explains some things that we're implementing in the software, some fundamental changes that we're making, I will speak fairly briefly on a big change we're actually making essentially in our entire business model and our revenue model to create sustainability, which is very difficult for nonprofit organizations. And for us, we've developed a model that we can be self-funding in 3 years. So I'll speak on that. But before that, I'm going to turn it back over to Lauren, and she'll explain to you some of the changes that we are making. And I'm going to pull up the front end of the software right now, what it looks like for kids. It's pretty simple. You can log in, and it's a template that you can type your letters on. Pull that up while she's talking.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we are really, really excited about the direction that we're taking our software. Again, we both had the opportunity to go into the classroom each week to work with the students. Again, I was the program coordinator that facilitated the exchange between the letters. We have a very secure system that when the letters were sent from the kids, I would read and review those letters, and then they would get passed on to the athletes and vice versa. So we made sure that there was proper content that was being discussed, and just being able to encourage meaningful conversation between the student and the athlete. So one of the very first things that we noticed within the program with the kids was that there's different reading levels. There's different speeds in which kids could type and learn and comprehend. And so we realized that we needed to have some sort of curriculum that would help them if they're at different phases of their learning level. So we have developed, or we're in the process of developing watermark template a curriculum, and it's going to be a 3-tiered system. I'm going to explain to you a little bit more what that looks like. But kind of looking back a little bit, when we were doing our letter exchange program from the very beginning, we didn't give any sort of guidance in terms of topics. The kids could talk about whatever they felt like. The topics were sometimes really cute and charismatic, asking the athletes, what kind of pets do you have? What's your favorite color? How tall are you? And so that was really fun, but we wanted to, again, develop meaningful conversation. We felt that was more important to instill some sort of guidance in that program. So for phase 1, once we had the software, we were able to provide athletes a topic list. We gave them content such as talk to your mentor about what is it like to be in school? How is it with dorm life? How do you meet friends? How do you budget your money when you're shopping for the first time on your own? And how difficult are classes, and how do you balance that with working with your sport? How can you be successful in both? And so the athletes did an amazing job just giving that excitement for the kids, telling them what college life was like, and encouraging them to make that their path. The thing that we didn't do at the first phase here was give the kids that same type of topic list and response. So that was one of the main feedback items that we got from the teachers, to create some sort of template when they have to respond. How can they structure a sentence at their learning level? And so again, we felt that the solution was these watermark templates. We're going to have 3 phases. The first phase was going to be something very, very kind of copy-paste. They would have the template type out a majority of what that sentence and paragraph would say and get to fill in the blanks slightly. And then as they have learning levels progress, or if they're a more advanced student, they would have more of a gently suggested topic to discuss. One thing that we found, just kind of reiterating, is some of these students that we sat with could really only type 3 or 4 sentences at a time and not really have a flow to their conversation, whereas a student right next to them could type 2 or 3 paragraphs in that same amount of time. So again, we realized with the teachers, they also need a little bit of help with software. They can't be sitting with 30 students at once, even with the additional help of me and Israel, and sometimes even an additional person. It was still difficult to get to each student and make sure that they were successfully writing a full letter each week. And so having the software be that guidance, they could be more hands-off as a teacher, and the software takes over. So that was something that we really felt was going to be very pivotal in terms of how the teacher can incorporate this into their day-to-day curriculum, having such a busy curriculum to follow in itself. How can they push this and make it a part of their English curriculum potentially? The second thing that we are really excited to implement is the mobile phone application for the athletes. Israel, being a NCAA football player, just knows exactly how busy it is to be a student and an athlete. He plus many others want the opportunity to give back to their communities, but it's nearly impossible to fit that into their schedule. And so by having an application, that's the direction that we're taking it, it's going to be a very easy way for our athletes to give back to their communities by the palm of their hand. And so ultimately having this phone application is going to change the amount of number of athletes and mentors that can participate given their busy schedules. In addition, the push notifications are going to be really, really helpful. One thing that I had to do on a weekly basis was just give constant reminders. The athletes were really, really amazing at making this a priority, but with the many demands and disciplines that they have with classwork, family life, schoolwork, and their sport, it sometimes would slip their mind to write their letter. So reaching out via text was kind of our mode of doing that, and so now we can use push notifications to make sure that they're completing their letters and that the student receives one every single week. And then the third thing that we are excited to add to our software is Snapchat. And I don't mean that we're partnering with Snapchat, but we realized what an amazing kind of innovation that Snapchat has become. And so we are going to instill and incorporate video and photo capabilities into our software now as well. One thing that we as a team really recognized was that mentorship at its core is a one-on-one interaction and face-to-face. And by putting it in a mobile device, you're kind of losing a little bit of that personal touch. And so we hope that through video and photo capabilities, we're able to kind of bring that connection a little bit closer and really bring mentorship to its core of what we really believe it's all about. And so with phase 2, just imagine if you guys have kids or a niece or nephew, they're gonna think it's so incredibly cool to see a video of a UW basketball player walking into their classroom and saying, hey, I'm here for a math test, I'm ready with my calculator and pencils, and I studied really hard, and I'm gonna really work hard at this test, and we're going for the A. That's gonna be really encouraging for parents as well, because they're knowing that they're getting a mentor that's pushing education, pushing growth and vision for that child's future. In addition, the kid is gonna think it's really cool, like, hey, I get to see this athlete that I look at on the TV, and here he's at school, that's so cool. Maybe they'll show a practice. Anything that the athlete would want to send is possible, and again, those would be reviewed through our system. In addition, what about a professional such as like a lawyer? They could be also sending videos of a courtroom case, or what their day-to-day work life is like, and again, helping that child envision a future of what their life could be. And so we have many other changes that we are going to be making, but these are the 3 core things that we hope to make a part of our program in this phase 2 of our software. And I'm going to pass it back over to Israel to explain a little bit further about our revenue model. So thank you.
Cool, great job, Lauren. So to kind of circle back and make sure that you all have the full view or image of how our software really works, the back end of the software, the administrative page, is where the matching takes place. It's where the mentee profiles are created, the mentor profiles are created, and then the matching is created. The profiles are synced, really simple on the back end. And that's also where the letters are reviewed. So each letter that is sent is intercepted in order for it to be read and reviewed by our program coordinator. Certain information is redacted. For instance, the easiest example is like an Xbox username. If a kid or an athlete shares something like that, or social media information, we redact that information. We try to limit the interaction between the mentor and the mentee to our program within the Chins Up Exchange software. So it's very simple, and when we implement the video capabilities, those types of things will also be intercepted. We can approve a letter, and if there's a video a kid decides to send, or something that we just don't approve of, that our mentor sent that a kid shouldn't see, we delete it, we won't send it on. So we're creating a very safe environment for the kids, FERPA compliant as well, and COPA compliant, working with kids under the age of 13. With software is obviously a scary thing these days. I think if this room was filled full of a bunch of insurance agents, when I mentioned that, they would have taken off and ran out of the room. So that being said, it's been a lot of work. When we first started Boots on the Ground, Lauren was literally hand delivering each letter every week, and this was during a time I was meeting with VenueWorks, who are the developers of our software. Lauren is going to the elementary schools, picking up these letters that were handwritten by the kids, putting them in envelopes, scanner, they're right now in envelopes, scanning each letter to the athletes, sending the emails. The athletes worked with the badges for the first 3 semesters. We're responding via email. Lauren's printing out every single email, putting them back in the envelopes, and delivering it back to the kids, so we can show proof of concept. And it was a lot of work, so we wouldn't be here without her and her huge heart and her amazing work ethic. So, that being said, where are we at today? We decided to make quite a fundamental change in our business model a few months back, and it actually began this week. We are white labeling the software, and with the intention of licensing our software to existing mentoring programs like the Brother and Sister program, the Girls Club, and the Abbott House program. There's 100 Black Men that are implementing mentoring programs, and there's actually a lot in this market alone. There's so many different mentoring programs. All of them have one common problem: there's not enough mentors. This room alone, looking around, I see some people that will make great mentors for a fifth grader, 6th grader, a high school student, but not all of us have the time, right? So if you're able to participate in Big Brother, Big Sister via a phone application, you're sending letters back and forth to kids, you're able to send a video right now. I'm at 1 Million Cups today. I got to meet Lauren Parrish. It's really cool. These are the types of things that we do as entrepreneurs or attorneys or any business professional, sharing that insight with kids who, the underprivileged and at-risk kids wouldn't otherwise be able to obtain that insight. It's really powerful. Where I grew up, I wish I would have had that. I wish I would have known. I wish I would have had some insight of what law school is like, because I went there completely blind and it was a terrible experience. But those types of things, what is it like? And we're trying to facilitate that and just expand mentoring and be that back-end software. So by white labeling, what we're doing, I said we actually just started, ManyWorks is doing it for us. The development began on Monday. We want to creating a version of the software, same idea, basically going to be the same, but it's able to be implemented within other programs, so they can brand it as themselves. So you'd be downloading the Boys and Girls Club phone app or the Big Brother Big Sister phone app, but the back-end software and the back-end program is the Chins of Exchange software, which we're very, very excited about. And it's effective for 3 reasons. Number one, it's going to help us complete our mission of mentoring and facilitating mentoring. Utilizing mentoring, whether it's from an attorney or a collegiate athlete, to give these kids guidance and advice and push them and motivate them to participate in the utilization of this educational tool. Kids writing these letters, they're really, really motivated and they're excited to share letters with their mentors. And it's almost like a subsequent effect that they're learning at the same time, which really doesn't exist in educational systems right now. So we're making a strong attempt at a systematic, fundamental program. So that's the number one reason, implementing it this way and being able to license it to programs, not only here, but across Wisconsin, potentially across the country, will really help us complete our mission. The second reason, which I alluded to this earlier, is our revenue model. As a nonprofit, it's really tough, especially in this market. There's some more nonprofits per capita in the entire country. We're the most philanthropic county in the entire country. It's great, but it means that anyone with money in this market is constantly getting hit up. There's always a race for funding, and it creates a tough environment. It's great, but it's a tough environment for nonprofits to have sustainability, because every year you got to pay for you got to find your salaries, and you got to fundraise, and you got to get the same grants every year, and it's tough. So for us, the revenue that we would receive in exchange for licensing the software programs over 3 years, the revenue model that we've developed will create sustainability and will be self-funded based upon the funding that we receive for licensing the software, which we're really excited about. We don't have any competitors. We have a quasi-competitor in New York that doesn't even have anything close to what we have and what we're going to have when phase 2 is being done. And the third reason for us, it allows us to focus on what we want to focus on internally. We want to focus on education. We want to focus on the watermark curriculum. We want to focus on giving kids content to talk about that's culturally responsive. For instance, you go to any inner city school or any underprivileged or at-risk kid, boy, 5th grade, you ask him what he is going to be when he gets older, I guarantee you 95% of them say, well, I'm either going to be in the NFL or the NBA. Haven't decided yet. For us, with the software, coming up with a culturally responsive curriculum that could talk about that sport or the NFL, and getting them to understand that, you know what, to get there, it's great, it's tough, but you got to educate yourself first. You got to go to college. You have to go to college first. And utilizing a collegiate athlete to send that message is very, very, very powerful. For us, I just think we're excited about the new change, and development should be done by the end of the summer. Very excited about and having a product that we're essentially selling at that point. We'll be going in, and Lauren will be going in and training the organizations on how to utilize the software and the matching capabilities. And it's actually pretty simple in comparison to a lot of the tech companies that I'm competing with. We're a pen pal program, right? But we're safe, we're compliant, and I think it's great for kids. Kids need it. So that's what we're doing. That's the gist. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I think any techies in here know that it's always difficult to explain software in 15 minutes. So I want to first address the question of what can you all do for us, which is a big part of these 1 Million Cup presentations. For us, we're at the point where we believe we have proof of concept. We're launching a crowdfunding campaign in potentially 2 months. We're basing that upon our analytics and getting at least 40% of the campaign before we actually launch. We're going for $200K, and we need that to hire a couple of employees and continue development of the software and cover our overhead costs along the staging of the software and privacy and protection of the software, and ensuring that we're compliant. But $200K is going to get us going. We have a year goal of $1.2 million, and for us, if we can raise the $1.2 million, at the end of the day, we're going to have an awesome product that we can subsequently sell. And like I said, in 3 years, be self-funded. That's the goal, and I don't think there's any other nonprofits in this market that can really say that. So for us, what do I need from you all? Spread the word. We need support. When we launch a crowdfunding campaign, if anyone in here knows, trying to look at all your thought bubbles right now, whatever names that are popping up in those thought bubbles, I want to connect with every single one of them. People that would be interested in supporting this and giving us the funding that we need, or at least a chunk of it. That's what we need. We need to push this, and we need everyone to become aware of what we're doing, and that there's this startup IT nonprofit company that's created a systematic approach to solving some of the problems that we have in education, while mentoring these kids and motivating them, and at the same time allowing mentors to participate more actively, allowing collegiate athletes to get back to their communities from the palm of their hand, from their smartphones, which personally is one of my favorite parts about what we're doing. Yeah, spread the word and connect with me. You can do that too. I want to meet everyone in here individually over lunch or coffee, please. Thank you all for coming. I think we're going to open up to questions now. Whatever you have, education-based questions, I think Lauren can knock those out. Software stuff I can do.
So you alluded to hiring some people with that first push of fundraising. What are your human capital needs as you see them developing? Because it's just 2 of you right now, right?
Well, 2 of us here. So we have a 13-member board.
Okay.
We have a total team of 20. Everyone on a volunteer basis. We have an advisory board of 6 people. But capital, the employees that we will hire, we're going to hire an executive director that needs to be awesome. And we have a couple people in mind already. We kind of began that process. And a marketing manager to get us out there and procure the funding that we need over the next year. And at that point, we can look at, once we get the funding, we'll need to hire people that have experience with software sales and software development. So we have a cool relationship with BendyWorks. BendyWorks is kind of working hand in hand with us for this mission because they believe in what we're doing. That's why they're developing the software for us pro bono. The first phase, we're talking $150,000 worth of software engineer time. The second phase is going to be about that as well, because they believe in what we're trying to do and bring in mentoring to smartphones. So for them, they actually have an intern program. Interns are working on our software, and as we get the needed capital, we can hire those interns to be the software developers, internal software developers. So, any other questions? We'll go right here.
So with the checking of each letter, you can do that with Snapchat too? So you guys will view all the pictures and videos and...
Right, so the way that it's set up is you're seeing right here on the screen the child's page, and then there's an admin profile that will be what I have access to that's secure. And so, and just little click buttons that we were able to read, we can click and actually edit the letters too. So if most of the letter is great, there's just one sentence we want to take out, I can just manually go and delete it.
Okay.
Or if the video is incompliant, we would just delete that video just through the software development aspect of it. So yes, we can do that and then push it forward.
Can I ask one more?
Absolutely.
Is there a time limit to the time of the mentorship program? Like, do people sign up for 6 months, or is the plan that it could be ongoing if both the mentor and the child want to continue it beyond like the school year? Or?
Yeah, good question. So what we've done so far is we've done it in chunks of a semester, because so far we've just worked with collegiate athletes. And so a semester made a lot of sense in terms of just the timeline of school. I think that would be up to each individual organization going forward. So with schools, a semester or a year-long commitment, again, it's going to be up to that school and the partnership that they develop. Once we pass on the software, we'll teach them how to use it, but again, we're kind of hands-off at that point, and then each organization can decide how they'd like to help the mentor-mentee continue to participate with each other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So comment and question, comment being another way to try to make it more efficient for the mentor is dictation as well through the phone. And so the question kind of piggybacks a little bit off of what she was asking. As far as the reviewing going forward with your white label solution, when you're selling this and licensing it to organizations, who's gonna be responsible for doing the reviews? Will they be responsible, or are you guys going to?
To this one, they'll be responsible.
Okay.
So we license it to an athletic department. I've met with different, their community service coordinators, essentially like Jackie Davenport here at UW. They'd have an intern or whoever they assign to that actual program. So they could incur, additional overhead costs if they actually had to hire someone to facilitate that program. I imagine they have to do so because it's so easy. But we train them on the Wisconsin mandatory reporting laws, what things to delete, what things to redact, and how it actually works. And then we're an ongoing there for them as support.
Kind of on the review standpoint, because that seems to be like a big piece of overhead, having to make sure that you're confident that somebody's reviewing it. Do you ever think that you'll have software developed enough where it can like review for at least keywords and get through most of the process, where it said that word Xbox triggers something and it's able to pull that out for you? And have you ever thought of using offering like an outsourced company that does the review? Like they have transcription services. I would think that there's somebody that could review it, maybe, so that the other school doesn't have to hire somebody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Apply that legal here. So to answer your question in parts, yeah, with funding, I don't think we put limits on any direction we can take the software. So, for example, we're working on implementing personality algorithms within the software to help actually with the matching process, which actually exists. I mentor in New York. That's kind of what their focus is. They help facilitate strong mentoring matchups through the algorithm that they've developed and the surveys that they have mentors and mentees fill out. So we don't really put any limits on the actual direction we can take, especially on the back end. To answer your question about working with third parties, I don't think we would ever do that. And the number one reason is, and I alluded to this earlier, working with information from kids, especially educational information, that triggers FERPA and it triggers COPA. So we want to limit the people that have access to that information as much as possible. So when we license our software, we'll be training them that whoever is assigned to this admin page, that's the only person that should have access to the admin page.
What is the time, you think, that it would take an admin to do this? Are we talking about maybe an hour, or are we talking about 15 hours?
Depends on the number of athletes involved, really. The students that I worked with, there was a group of just one classroom, so 30 to 35, I think it was. So it took me maybe a couple hours. To read the letters was actually quite simple. To go through and figure out who had sent one so far and who hadn't sent one by the deadline was actually what was more tedious. So we'll have a better system for that as well, with having the software updated. But so that'll be quite easier then. So I think reading the letters is actually quite simple. It'll just be dependent upon the number of letters that person has to read. So maybe they hire a couple different people to do the reading each week.
Yeah.
So was it the Lincoln School?
We work with Lincoln Elementary.
And describe how the students opted in, or how they were identified to participate in this. Was it the entire class?
So through the beta test, we worked with an entire classroom. We worked with a fourth grade class at Lincoln Elementary. And for two reasons. The first reason was administratively for us, in order to actually have a beta test and kind of test out what works. And it was good for us to work with students at different levels, right? But as we progress forward, it's actually going to be contingent upon the organizations that are utilizing our software moving forward in terms of who they choose to participate with. Ideally, we're going to be pushing for them to work with at-risk students. But in the future, that fourth grade classroom could be using 4 different versions of the Chins of Exchange software. They could have 100 black men that has a couple mentors participating with some kids in that class. They could have a couple Badger athletes sharing letters in that classroom. And then there could be 100 women or a different women organization having letters exchanged with kids in that classroom. So we want to target at-risk youth because that's where the core is. And I think when you're talking education and equity, I think that's how you effectuate it. But at the same time, the new direction that we're taking is going to be up to the organizations.
So if the class was that whole, that means that there were probably a few more young women in the class than men, just because of the percentages. But was the interest, both as mentor and mentee, just as strong for the men as I imagine it was for the women?
It was. So we did surveys, and one of the things that we asked kids was, how motivated were you? And every single kid hit 5 out of 5, that they were really motivated and excited to participate and write their letters every single week, including girls who are interested in band, and a couple of girls who weren't really interested in sports, but they love the connection. They love being able to connect with that athlete, and then at the end of the semester.
So it's athlete with a lowercase a rather than a capital A. What's the attraction in their case?
Being able to talk about, college, being able to talk about what college life is like, and like Lauren alluded to, we gave the athletes a template. So week 1, they were supposed to talk about what was their first day of college like. Week 2, what was it like being in class. Week 3, what was it like being on your own. So for those kids, it was very powerful for them to kind of get that insight. And we got, for the more advanced kids in the classroom, they asked some really awesome questions. They were really interested, and they really enjoyed the program and the insight that they received. So, for kids like that, I can foresee them utilizing our software and partnering with, the ITA at UW, the Technology Academy, which are doing, they're doing great things, and meeting with them and kind of helping them teach coding, or partner some of the engineers and software developers in this community with kids that are interested in that topic. I can see that being a good match. Sure. So when you white label and license, are you going to retain any of the rights to either review or own the data for future, refining the watermark part, or at least getting some statistical significance from it? Right. I was hoping someone would ask a big data question. So yes, there is, a long-term big data play, you could call it, which we're being very careful of, because again, we're working with information from kids, some of whom, potentially most of whom will be under the age of 13, all of whom will be under the age of 18. So we're being very careful with our big data play, but yes, we are reserving the right to keep track of that data so we can continuously advance the watermark letters and the curriculum, and how fast we're writing our letters, or what things that we're most interested in, stuff like that. Most definitely. Awesome. Yes?
So I just have feedback. I think it's a brilliant idea and really a breath of fresh air, I think, for all the organizations that are out there that do try to have outreach to youngsters, where it's just a really, unfortunately, it can be a burden for the mentor. Not that they want it to be, just life gets in the way, right? And to be able to have somewhat of a sophisticated method of still being able to create outreach. Sure, you could text somebody if they have a phone, but to have the push notifications, to be able to write a few lines, to shoot a quick video, show where I am, just to continue that idea of inspiring them that there might be something bigger and better along the lines of the athletes. As a former big brother, the children, sure, they see you're living a good life, right? And maybe they want to do that, but they don't really know or understand who I am, or what I do, or what has really allowed me to be who I am. Athletes just naturally inspire kids because they can relate to that really quickly. I think that's fantastic. If there could be some way to partner with the NCAA, I think they have over 450,000 athletes. Some way that could be integrated into all of the NCAA programs. What an impact that could really quickly have to the segment that, all these external issues that we look at in our communities, we say, this is really education. We need to somehow break the chain, break the pattern. Athletics seems to do that and be able to pair people and kind of keep them on a path for an extended period of time. I think could really make a difference. So great job to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and partially NCAA.
Yeah, high on the list.
Yeah, that's the goal. That'd be great.
Cool.
That seems like a natural place to end. Any parting thoughts from Israel or Lauren? Otherwise, you could stick around for a few minutes, we can network with you and get to know you.
Yeah, I just thank you all. Thanks for the great questions. Thanks for spending your morning with us and kind of learning about what we're doing and support. Like our Facebook page, check out our website. We'll be giving a lot of updates via Facebook to keep everyone kind of in tune with what we're doing, what we're up to. So thank you.
Awesome.